Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today you might find something at the end of this video pretty interesting. I'm going to give you a little history lesson and draw you a parallel between what's going on now and what happened during the dot-com boom. And then there was a bust, and then out of that bust came the real technology that was going to be what changed the world. I want to show you that. Let's start here. We've got the market just crossed 1.8 trillion again. There's a good bit of green on the board today, so that's good. Now, I wanted to show you this. This is from Jeremy Hogan. The SEC is seeking, among other things, the individual defendant's personal financial information. I believe that the SEC will get most of what it wants here, and that Judge Netburn will enter a protective order so that you and I will never see it. Maybe one win for the SEC. And then there was this. This is from Bank XRP. It was on CoinDesk. Listen to what they say here.
I'm hearing that Ripple has a couple of filings. Tell us more about the trials and tribulations of Ripple.
Yeah, so this is the SEC case against Ripple that kicked off in December. It's still ongoing. Right now, there seem to be a couple procedural moves happening, but the SEC has requested access to, or they've tried subpoenaing Ripple executives, I think, bank accounts. So that's Brad Larson, Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO, and Chris Larson, the executive chairman. Both these executives have asked the court to deny these subpoenas. They say that, it's irrelevant to the specific charges, but the SEC is alleging that, these two might be hiding some of their XRP holdings or moving around their tokens. And they want to know more about this. So we're still waiting on a judge to weigh in on this and, make a ruling about whether or not the SEC can continue these.
Okay, so that's CoinDesk weighing in on that. Now, speaking of CoinDesk, I saw this article today. How China's digital yuan could go global. China's been quietly testing platforms where the digital yuan can be freely traded with other fiat currencies. It sounds to me like they're trying to link up to the rest of the digital asset world. Quote, you have a central bank digital currency developed on various platforms such as you have central bank digital currencies developed on various platforms such as Enterprise Blockchain Corda or Hyperledger. And the digital yuan is technically not even on the blockchain. Michael Sung, co-director of FinTech Research Center at Fudan University, said, that is a very balkanized ecosystem. For the digital yuan to achieve global adoption, China would thus need to work with trade partners or regional financial hubs to have a platform where the digital yuan is technically, legally, and financially interoperable with other countries' digital currencies. One such platform is Ethereum Lion Rock, which is a central bank digital currency project for cross-border payments initiated by the Hong Kong Monetary Authority and the Bank of Thailand. 8 Thai banks and 2 Hong Kong banks, including HSBC, which I've been doing videos this week, or maybe this week and last week, where I showed you all the ties to the Libra, which is now Diem project with HSBC, and then I showed you all the ties to Ripple, like Chris Larson being on the technology advisory board at HSBC, and I showed you all the ties between Ripple and HSBC. So they're talking about this Ethereum Lion Rock project, so let's look at that. I looked it up on Twitter, and Wrath of Kahneman, what do you know? He just wrote big. That looks like a thumbnail. Big. Okay, I'll put big period on the thumbnail. That's great. Big. Hong Kong, Thailand create cross-border trade currency with R3 Corda. The Lion Rock Intanon project, it's a two-tier system and will have a working report Q1 2020 as of this. Ripple not involved, though some partners are. So you know you got R3, Standard Chartered. That's where Kahina Van Dyke from Ripple left to go to so that she would be a node on the network, quote, a node on the network away, according to Brad Garlinghouse. Then we know the HSBC connections. We know that I believe this is a Ripple partner. I mean, look, there's R3. I've said it 1,000 times. R3, their largest outside shareholders, SBI Holdings. SBI Holdings is also the largest outside shareholder of Ripple. Okay, moving along. The herd is coming. Exxon will start mining. Listen to this. Somebody captured this on the TV.
Not at all. This is, ExxonMobil doesn't take a lot of things lightly. I don't think they take anything lightly. So if they say it, they're going to try to do it.
You can see more of that interview on our Evolve series, of course. Ursula Burns will be up there today. Jim, interesting to listen to her. Of course, you and I have spent a good amount of time lately talking about Exxon, doing some reporting on it as well.
They need to be a little more creative. They need to be able to say, listen, you know what, we're going to flare, and when we take the flare, we're going to use the energy, and we're going to, mine for Bitcoin. I'm not kidding. But, by the way...
Did he just say flare?
There today. Jim, interesting to listen to her. Of course, you and I have spent a good amount of time lately talking about Exxon, doing some reporting on it as well.
They need to be a little more creative. They need to be able to say, listen, you know what, we're going to flare, and when we take the flare, we're going to use the energy, and we're going to, mine for Bitcoin.
They're going to mine for Bitcoin. What was he saying flare for? What did he keep saying flare for? I don't even know if that's what he was saying, but it sounded like it. Okay, I saw this article yesterday. IRS plans to push April 15th U.S. tax deadline to May 17th. For those of you that have not thought about this, that's a crypto tax deadline too, unless you have an iTrustCapital Roth IRA like I have, where you can buy in and out of crypto with no tax consequences as long as you take your IRA out after like age 59 and a half. If you want to open one of these iTrustCapital IRAs, it's in the description of all my videos. There's like a month off for free, but they have tax advantages. Some depends on the type of IRA. Some of them are tax-free completely when you pull out like my Roth IRA, but others are tax deferred, but there's definite awesome tax advantages to it. And here's just, if I haven't shown this in a while, their offerings that you can get cryptocurrencies and precious metals in here. Here's the cryptocurrencies they have right now, except XRP is on hold like it is on a lot of platforms. All right, check that out. Crypto Dim sent me this. 94% of the hash rate goes through Chinese mining pools, and 65% is physically produced in Chinese mining farms located in China. Not my words. Let that sink in. So much for decentralization. This is why I hodl XRP and other projects like HBAR, EWT, Flow. I don't know those two. All right, moving along. This right here is getting pretty interesting now. BondCrypt XRP at BondCrypt. Non-fungible tokens, more than a craze, says Kraken boss. The tokens are considered non-fungible because they're indivisible and unique. A $20 note is fungible for two $10 notes, but a digital asset with a unique code cannot be forged, replicated, or divided. This is starting to really fascinate me. I saw this today. Lindsay Lohan is partnering with Justin Sun of Tron to release NFTs on Tron, in another sign of the market's current froth. Now, this was put out by Vitze Vind. Is that yesterday? What's today's? Yeah, yesterday. Nice bundle of standard proposals. XLS-14D non-fungible tokens. XLS-15D concise transaction identifier. XLS-16D NFT metadata combined. So in other words, they're trying to put NFT, make it where you can build NFTs off of the XRP ledger. This is going to be exciting. So I think ultimately that means that Flare, you'll be able to build NFTs on the Flare network, is where I think this is all going. So you remember the other day when Rob Gronkowski was on CNBC? He's the guy that just won the Super Bowl for Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. Well, he created his own Gronk Championship Series NFTs. So I went looking for his website. He's got a website where he is posting all of these, but he's got a link because I wanted to find where's the main NFT marketplace. So when I clicked on his view auction button, it turns out that all of his auctions are occurring on this OpenSea. Okay, these are all of his auctions, and you can see the last. Let's see if I can find his highest bid. Somebody's offering 229 Ethereum for this one right here. Gronk Career Highlight Refractor card, but these are NFTs. So what I did, just so that all of you could find where to go, I put in the description of this video, and I'll keep it in there for the rest of them, a link that takes you to the largest NFT marketplace, and there's a link that takes you right there, and you can go and browse through all of these NFTs, and if you want to buy one, like one of those Gronk NFTs, just type Gronk and it'll come up. Really, really cool. I'm excited about this. Okay, this is cool. In 2014, the U.S. Marshals Service auctioned off 30,000 Bitcoin confiscated from the founder of the Silk Road, Ross Ulbricht. Tim Draper was the highest bidder for $19 million. Today, that Bitcoin is now worth 1.75 billion dollarinis. That is wild. Okay. Now, for a little history lesson, okay? First, I want to show you this. This is from I believe it's 1999. This is about Amazon.com and remember, for those of you that weren't there, the .com boom went from about 1995 all the way to about 1999, 2000. Then the stock market crashed, and all of those pets.coms that didn't have real business models and weren't making any money, they all crashed. And then up from the ashes rose over the next few years the Amazons and the eBays and the Priceline.coms, the ones that survived, the Googles, the ones that had a real model. Okay, I think there's a similar thing going on in digital assets right now. You have, and it's the separation between digital assets without utility, digital assets with utility. Watch this. This is about Amazon 1999.
And Wall Street isn't concerned that Amazon has never made a profit, not a dime. In fact, it lost $125 million last year. The company says it's investing for the future. Skeptics say it would have to sell every book being sold in the world today to justify its stock price.
I think my generation grew up with Sears. And Amazon is worth 20% more than Sears is worth in market capitalization.
How do you view that phenomenon that Amazon today is worth more than Sears?
Investors are focused on the future. Amazon has growth potential that Sears doesn't.
A couple of geeks who sketched out some software could destroy Sears Roebuck.
That's the beauty of technology and the microprocessor. We've never seen anything like it.
And they did.
And Wall Street.
And they did destroy Sears Roebuck and Kmart and several others. Now, there are parallels here. There's a reason that I keep telling you proof of work does not work. The parallels are so obvious in your face. And part of the reason is, look, when I was during the .com thing, I was a young man. I was scrambling around trying to figure out how to get my piece of that pie, that .com pie. I missed out on that pie. And those of you out there that were my age at the time, we swore to ourselves, if we ever saw anything like this again, not only would we not miss out on that pie, we would be ready, okay? We would be ready, but we would also have learned the lessons from what went wrong during that time. And I have. That's why I'm so vocal about this Bitcoin thing and how proof of work does not work. I want you to watch this now.
Here's the question that I'm always grappling with Bitcoin, which is that right now the people who are in Bitcoin
my sons
are
are fighting.
Hold on. Going to go up.
My sons are fighting in the background. You're just going to have to power through it.
Here's the question.
And I warned them not to fight while I was doing this video, but they don't listen all the time.
I'm always grappling with Bitcoin, which is that right now the people who are in Bitcoin are speculating it's going to go up and go up significantly. 1x, 2x, 3x, 10x, right? That's this is a true speculation right now for people who are looking for real, outsized yield, if you will. But if you think of it as a store of, if you think of it as a commodity like gold, at some point there has to be a moment where actually it's not a 1 or 2x or 10x kind of yield. It's going to be a very low yield at all. You're just going to hold on to it. That's a totally different type of investor. And so the question is, do people who are in Bitcoin at some point say, you know what, actually the upside isn't there anymore. I'm going to take my money out and go look for the next one, and what that does to the price.
Okay, so that is a phenomenal intellectual discussion. I'll be brief. You're in that transitory period. This is sort of like where Amazon was in 2000. People couldn't believe its price movement. Then we looked at it again in 2009. It was
This is not Amazon. Amazon had a real business plan. Pets.com did not. For the today, no utility equals .com bubble, no business plan. Amazon had a business plan. XRP, there is a complete business plan around what that is. There is no business plan around Bitcoin other than have a marketing plan to pump the price up, and somebody somewhere, these billionaires, are going to get out of it at the right time. And I'm worried that a lot of the people out there that are not, that don't know what's really going on are going to miss it. Now, let's fast forward to 2003. The last video I showed you about Amazon was 1999. Then, well, first let me show you this. I believe XRP is Google. This is just a comparison. Bitcoin is Alta Vista. You remember Alta Vista? Alta Vista was a web search engine established in 1995. It became one of the most used early search engines, Bitcoin, but lost ground to Google and was purchased by Yahoo in 2003, which retained the brand but based all Alta Vista searches on its own search engine. On July 8th, 2013, the service was shut down by Yahoo, and since then the domain was redirected to Yahoo's own search site. This is Amazon in 2003. Listen to what Jeff Bezos says.
Comparatively speaking, to be resilient. But I think it's also, if we look at what happened in the internet, it was such an incredible last, half a dozen years that it's hard to even get the right analogy for it. And a lot of how we decide how we're supposed to react to things and what we're supposed to expect about the future depends on how we bucket things and how we categorize them. I think the tempting analogy for the boom bust that we just went through with the internet is a gold rush. Both were very real. They took, in 1849, in that gold rush, they took over $700 million worth of gold out of California. It was very real. The internet was also very real. This is a real way for humans to communicate with each other. It's a big deal. Huge boom, huge boom. Huge bust, huge bust. I don't have to remind you of all the hype that was involved in the internet, the getrich.com. But you had the same thing with the gold rush. Gold, gold, gold. 68 rich men on the steamer Portland. Stacks of yellow metal. And people would get very excited about this when they read these articles. Resilience, if you think of it in terms of the gold rush, then you'd be pretty depressed right now because the last nugget of gold would be gone. But the good thing is with innovation, there isn't last nugget. Every new thing creates 2 new questions and 2 new opportunities. And if you believe that, then you believe that where we are, this is what I think, I believe that where we are with the incredible kludge, and I haven't even talked about user interfaces on the web, but there's so much kludge, so much terrible stuff. We are at the 1908 Hurley washing machine stage with the internet. That's where we are. But that's the level of primitiveness of where we are. We're in 1908. And if you believe that, then stuff like this doesn't bother you. This is 1996. All the negatives add up to making the online experience not worth the trouble. 1998, Amazon.toast. In 1999, Amazon.bomb. But, if you really do believe that it's the very, very beginning, if you believe it's the 1908 Hurley washing machine, then you're incredibly optimistic. And I do think that that's where we are. And I do think there's more innovation ahead of us than there is behind us. And I think that's where we are. We're very, very early.
I believe we are in the Internet of Value gold rush. And there will be potholes inside of that gold rush like there were back then, like there were in the creation of the internet. But we're in the Internet of Value gold rush. No utility And it ultimately, Brad Garlinghouse has said it before, he believes most of them will go to zero if they ultimately don't have any utility. I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to go to zero, but I'm saying there is a chance. There's a chance that it implodes when something that has real utility jumps it. Have you thought about this? Put this in your pipe and smoke it. Think about this for a second. The whole concept of utility in a digital asset is that at some point, let's say, for instance, let's just use XRP as an example. Let's say, for instance, that at some point there is a utility in XRP that in essence creates a floor for it. In other words, if XRP from now on is being used for the monetary flows or as a replacement for Nostro Vostro, wouldn't it ultimately create a floor? And then on top of that floor, you would have some speculation that makes it go up and down, but it bounces onto the floor. Well, question here. If you've got a Bitcoin that is only speculation, up and down, up and down, in other words, its limitation upwards, it could go anywhere, but it could go to zero because it's only speculation. But you've got a digital asset over here that has a floor, a level that because of the utility it can't go below, but it has unlimited upside similar to Bitcoin. Why? This is the question. Why is anybody going to have their money in the Bitcoin if there are other digital assets that have the added benefit of having the utility? That is the danger here. And I believe that at some point Bitcoin is going to get jumped, and just like Charles Hoskinson said, at that point there's no real reason to have it. Heyo Seiko Carmona sent me this quote: "Billionaire mindset, remain focused. Your time is coming." I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family to remain focused. Your time